We had some people in the audience that wanted to speak on this, and we didn't have public comments, that's what we put on this one. But please, to help in this discussion, on the back table there, I put a sheet that looks like this to kind of explain this. It's called Remaining Town Campus Improvements. And put this together today to try to help explain that. I realized that a lot of people didn't know how the DPW garage was set up. So if you look at the DPW building is the one that's kind of in the rectangle in the middle of the sheet. And you'll notice on the north end there's 1,300 square feet of warm storage, and on the south end there's 1,700 square feet of cold storage. Okay, the original plan for the town hall improvements, and by the way, this is handed out every meeting. You can ask John, but I always give him one in case he gets down before I put them out. On there, once we get our HVAC done, you'll notice that everything, almost everything on here is done, except 2 items on the list. One of them was police department safety and security, that's in the police garage. And the other one was to convert cold to warm storage for the DPW. And that one started at 50, but it grew to 95 due to the site constraints with the building itself. So Todd came up, like I said, he brainstormed. We didn't, the town board didn't direct him. He took it upon himself and went to the police department and was DPW guy and said, how is there another way we can get this done? And I don't know if you explained it now 5, 10 times. You want to do it one more time or no?
Yeah, I can. Once I started getting cost estimates to put concrete in and put heat in and put electric in, and then hearing from some contractors that they would not they wouldn't put a ceiling in because they're not sure how the load rating is on the trusses that are there. So trying to get somebody to do that was very, very hard. And then coming up with the cost for concrete and electric and insulating alone, we're up to like $95,000. So I'm like, well, on your own, I took it on myself to see what just a garage would cost, a normal garage, with some, they're called room in the attic trusses above, so there'd be more storage for the police department. And what we would end up doing is taking over their part of the garage, and they would get a new police garage with more square footage, so the cars aren't parked so tight and banging into each other when they're, you don't have to move one to get another one out. And that's why I just called a couple of local garage people that are around here just to see what the cost of it was. So I came up with a couple different ones that all the board members have had, and Joe made copies now, and they've been handed out more than once. And like, right now I have one from a local contractor. Walk in, put the light switch on, I think it's like 182. That's finished, drywall, electric, everything, painted, right down to, like I said, just walk in and turn the light switch on. I've been waiting for a couple other ones to get back to me, because this was just brought up a week ago at our meeting, to try and get somebody to get a cost estimate for electric on some of these other ones. It's going to be a little bit harder.
All right, so I put also back there a copy of just what, and you gotta be careful handing out contractors' proposals, even though this is not gonna be what we eventually do. We have to bid it if we ever do it.
Yeah, this
but
is just
you can't be releasing it to the world, so I copied one of them that would have fit. One of the ones you got was in December 2nd for American Garage Builders, and that was like 125, but it did not have any finishing in the 3 offices upstairs. Right. The question came up last month. Well, if you're going to tell somebody how much this thing is really going to be to use it, usable, get that number updated. So that's what Todd did in 182. Yeah. So that's why that second sheet, that second one is handed out there. Okay. Now, again, the space needs. If that happens, the police officers all move out of this building except the corner office would be the chief's office. And then the 2 officers that are left there, one is to get the building inspector out of this room because it's not good. And this is a meeting room. You got to get him out of there. And then our clerk of courts is actually working in judges' chambers. That ain't good either, okay? So by doing this, that takes care of the internal needs for this office, it takes care of the police department to the minimum standard, and it takes care of the DPW. And that's how we got to this point. When we got all these bids back in, I keep saying bids, I shouldn't say that. We got these proposals in December. These are, everybody had these for a long time. October, 3 in October and then in December. And all along we said, and of course Chief Terry Mills reminded us, yes, that, you know, if it's a building, it's gotta go to the electors, which means we can't do anything on it. We didn't do anything on it since December probably, until recently. So that's why I made these sheets to help out. I'm gonna have these for the annual meeting also, 100 or whatever. So that's how we got here, and now we have a more complete number. It's not our choice, because it's a building, it's the electors, you know, and they're the ones that are gonna say to do it, not do it, or do it later, or do a study first, or do something, you know, wait to see what happens with the village or with Troy, because they're gonna have changes a couple of years from now, you know. So, I'm gonna quote you on this, because I think you hit it right on the head last week's meeting. You said that a good place to start the discussion is that meeting. That's what it's gonna be. It may turn into something, it may not, but that's a good place to start the discussion, so that was actually good, you know. So, that's why it was on here, and we're gonna have public comments later, just in case something comes up there, because we moved that one. But is there anything else from the board members? You all got this, right?
Yep.
I just wanted to say something, if I can, I feel like I was kind of the culprit to bring it up, because we were in budget time, and we're talking about everything and what departments need, and you know, there was a lot of information to take in. And I did bring it up because we've obviously done these improvements on our town hall that we have now. We're not tearing the town hall down, we're not doing anything like that. And I had asked, has there ever been discussion about an addition or, you know, something in that direction? And then that's when Todd said that he had kind of looked into things because of this dry storage. You know, we get to $95,000, and I'm not saying that this needs to get voted on next at our annual meeting, but I really think that it's a good thing to have a discussion, and the more people that can come to the meetings, the more people that'll speak up about it, because we are looking at other things, because we have to do our due diligence as a town board. It's not the meaning that anything's going to change or anything's going to happen, but it's our job to do that, you know. And I think that I've said it from the day I started. There's nothing in this township that can't be looked at or looked into to make sure things are going right, to make sure that we're doing we're being fiscally responsible with things. And I know it's difficult sometimes for people in the community, and they have strong feelings because they care about the community. But I don't feel that there's no one trying to be sly or sneaky or anything about this. We're really just trying to look out with the best interest to keep, you know, people in our township comfortable in what's going to make everything flow right. So, but I did kind of start this animal, and I don't mind fessing up to that. And it's literally because I asked too many questions. You know, it comes down to it.
This isn't anyone's pet project.
No, not at all. This was just as a discussion during our budget. That's how it started.
And as far as addition, and in fact, this is a standalone building, 36 by 40. But when we had the open house here, a couple people brought that up and said, you know, instead of the whole works here was, you know, how about an addition? That was brought up, you know, just for police department. And then Jim Surgis did about 10, 15 years ago, probably about the time you got here, when we started the account for, well, not started, but we added, I think, police department 2 parks for the fees, the impact fees. And then Jim said, well, we could put it right here. You probably remember that, Joe, and at that time, we looked at the rest of this building and said, some of this building is 105 years old. It's like, are you kidding me? You know? But that's where we are now, and we're doing the best we can. We fixed everything in here. It's a safe place to work. You still have to do your office for organization. We got the furnace, the air conditioner taken care of, this is the last piece of it.
You wanna tell them maybe where you're considering putting this building?
That's what he was saying.
It's on there, basically it's between this building and the salt shed, and the front of it lines up with the south face of the existing town hall. So, that's the X, you know.
For whoever didn't have that, I just, people
Oh,
are
yeah.
probably wondering, do we have to buy property, or where can it fit?
And another thing, I would hope, you know, obviously this is up to the electors at their annual meeting, but I would hope that people just to look at it as a consideration and not just let's stab it, you know, knock it down just to knock it down, but maybe to look at it, let's table this until, you know, we can get more information or to meet everybody's expectations. Cause if, I don't know all the rules, but if it's knocked down at the annual meeting, then that's just the end of it.
Right.
Can't we have a special electric?
Oh, yeah, you can always,
So it's, I mean, just something to consider, that
We do
let's
some
get
research.
as much information before we're just.
yeah, it might come to a point where.
Table it instead of,
You know, it might come to a point where it's said, and they have to authorize us to spend money on it.
sure.
You know, have, you know, an architect look at it versus these guys and have, not even necessarily, design it, but take those proposals and do a serious cost estimation on it. We have a proposal, the cost estimators throw in a lot more factors in that. Okay, it's kind of difficult to go to a contractor and say, hey, if you're gonna bid this in 3 months, what's it gonna be? You can't do that, okay? So that's one option, and another option that, yeah, it maybe gets pushed out some more, okay? Another option is that, you know, you just move forward with it. I mean, there's anything, like you said, anything on the table, anything, you know? And,
So the annual meeting, we're not voting to build anything.
no, but this is,
Well, it depends on the.
Depends if someone makes a
what they
motion.
want.
yeah,
We're not motioning.
yeah, yes.
I think it should be also pointed out that this building will not be a public building, it's a garage.
Oh, yeah, there was
It will
some,
be
yeah.
handicap accessible, there won't be an elevator.
But if there's office,
Listen.
but there'll be a lot, if you're talking about
Yeah, there was
offices
already
and stuff
some
upstairs,
outdoors on-
it's a little more than, I just wanted to be known, that people think a little more than it's a garage, because you may have your cars, but if you have offices up above and you have evidence rooms, let's just say, it's more than a garage. It tentatively is its
But
purpose.
it's not a public building.
Okay.
Okay.
We won't hold a meeting on that.
And interviews will still be conducted in this meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when you start putting offices and things in it, you know, like,
People are there during the day.
if people are taking it, I'm sure it could be called something different, you know, and not that it is a public building for everybody to come into, but.
it's not to a size that requires, bathrooms, because the bathroom is the same distance from there to the bathroom that is to the judge's room, okay? It doesn't require elevators, doesn't require, I heard some other stuff, 80 bath, you know, no, 89 bucks, you know, it's probably 200, you know.
Well, Vince can
this
answer
is-
all those questions, he's here, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah, but we can't, like we did absolutely nothing on this until, you know, what's coming up now. That's where it has to happen, we can't go forward with it, you know, so that's why we put it on again, just to make sure, and that's it.
And Tom, I'm assuming you do have requests for more, other estimates?
I don't.
No, okay.
This is
From
just
the
a
other guys?
couple people, it was just kind of do a comparison to see what the 95 that would cost to do convert our cold storage to making that garage. It was just a comparison, all it was.
Okay,
I mean, this was never meant to be set in stone by any means.
right,
right.
It was just, hey, take a look at this possible
that's an
idea.
option.
Yeah, and have money spent a little better, cause to our warm storage isn't gonna alleviate a lot of the problems that are around here.
And there was a comment last week at the special board meeting that, that would still not give you enough warm storage? Is that what I heard?
It's basically just putting heat in there, but it doesn't solve
But you still
our-
won't be able to put all of your equipment?
No, because right now to try and walk from one end of our garage to the other in the wintertime with all the plows on, you're walking over the front end of a plow and run the front end of a front end loader. They go from one side to the other.
but the police garage that's used now is warm, and you would utilize that, and it would take care of probably most of what you think you need for warm. You
Yes,
still need cold,
yes,
and if we did it the other way, you would improve, you know, that end of it, and you still would have enough room for the rest of your stuff, you know, the brine truck and everything else. So, okay. All
And I
right,
guess, as far as Chad's comments, I don't think you can ever ask too many questions. Because,
I don't
yeah,
know.
in our March meeting minutes that we approved, it was just discussion. It didn't say authorize or anything.
no,
like
no,
that.
When I
no,
repeated the items that were listed for the annual meeting, it was unauthorized. And that was stated.
yeah, Jim mentioned that right at the end, said, hey, you gotta mention
At
that.
an annual meeting, if electors are going to vote or make a motion, the board has to look to the statute to see, is that a direct power that the electors have? Or is it a power that they're authorized to make the motion? And then, there's very few direct powers that electors have control over, but construction of new buildings, purchase of land, those are all direct powers. If they want the town board to consider anything else, like a consolidation or safety or police services, that's not in the statute as a power electors have, but you can bring anything up at the annual meeting, and then by statute, it'll tell you whether the town board has to act or can they consider it.
And we had a lot of advice last year, if you remember. So almost all those motions were advisory last year. We had a bunch of.
Right.
We had a bunch.
Most motions will be advisory only.
Correct. All right,
And again, it's not a proposal for consolidation, it's a proposal to research options.
I was trying to give an example, I'm not even sure what you're considering.
Yep.
okay, we done with the garage, we're here? We're good? Okay. All right, new business, discussion on when to start the hiring process for the new chief in 2023. Well, we can change that from what we just heard an hour ago. That's happening right now. And language for employment posting. We went through it last month or was it last week?
Monday.
Monday. Kim, you incorporated the last changes. The only thing we didn't put in there was apply by. And then there was a question about benefits and what it was called. And we added that, the Wisconsin Deferred Compensation Program, retirement system. We stayed with the 10 to 15 years total experience, and we stayed with the 5 to 7 of leadership preferred. And again, we're gonna evaluate.
Well, and I wanted, that was a big one when we discussed it, was it's preferred. So, I know that the chief, I think he made a comment about, he might deter people from, but I really hope in reading it, it says preferred, it's not necessarily
It doesn't say required.
a requirement, yeah, so you know.
Or, and be perfect.
Right, it's just something that would be preferred, so.
Yeah, and again, too, I mean, if you guys hired enough people to see how his resumes are written, you'll notice that we usually puff them up somewhat. It's gonna be our job to ferret out the truth, you know? Anyway, so.
The only thing I noticed where it says between 10 and 15 years experience, we probably don't need that about you. It's just years per.
Oh, there's the.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then apply by, so again, if nothing else, we're gonna find out what the market is here. It is tighter than tight, and just because we get applications, doesn't mean we're gonna pull the trigger out, because later this month, we're gonna have to do an interim chief to keep the management running. So that's why I mentioned the chief would be happy for one more meeting, and we'll get closed, we probably the him and John, and us, to determine that. But we can't tighten up the apply by too tight, but it's gotta be at least a month, maybe even
45 days.
45 days, you know.
Apply by what?
The bottom line here is
Yeah.
blank.
Well, I guess maybe first we should talk about when we're gonna post it.
I think
We
immediately.
need to,
It's changed now. Last week, I think we were talking about waiting for the new board, just to review
Oh,
it again.
we will have a new board by the time we have that meeting. Because the new guys are getting sworn in at the annual meeting, and this meeting we're talking about with the chief and John would be near the end of the month. So It
Do
would,
we have a date for that?
for what? No,
The meeting at the end of the month?
no, we're gonna probably do that when Kim says, what do we got for meetings? But we'd like to do that for that one, obviously, too, so,
Apply by May 31st.
Sounds good.
That's
Gives
only,
you
just give it 30 days.
It's the 11th of April.
that's a month and a half.
Oh, well,
Almost
that's why I was
45
just
days.
asking, when are we gonna post it? Are we
Oh,
gonna
no.
wait
We're
for
gonna
the new
post-
board to post it?
No,
No,
That's my question.
that doesn't
we
hurt.
post it right away.
I agree. So, May 31st, I heard, bye-bye.
Well,
Right.
June 1st,
One day,
right? I mean,
your choice, one day.
Chad's call.
Chance call. That's definitely not the case.
All right, by the end of May. All right,
or
so, yeah, and then again.
that Friday, June 3rd? I don't know, I just think May 31st is the day after a holiday.
Yeah, but if
Tuesday.
anybody's
Yeah.
serious, they're gonna
Yeah,
not
sooner
wait until the
rather
very
than
last
later.
day. Yeah.
And if we get none, we're, so, okay. All right, so that's the apply by date. There was nobody, there was one correction on the punctuation. I don't think there was anything else on here that we had to kill here. I mean, are we good? If we're good,
My only other question is there more than one place? I know we had, John had said that there's a particular place that we're mostly.
Wiley Net.
But is there any other places so that we could try to reach
John,
out
wanna address
as
that?
much as we
Posting?
can?
Wiley
postings?
Net State.
So is that's why.
Why
they
did
use
that's
that
the
one?
general law enforcement posting,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could do Milwaukee Journal and get it out in the newspapers, but Wiley, that is what most,
That's the standard you were saying when we had this.
and everybody has access, I mean, if you Illinois, you could log into Wiley, have to look at when
Oh, okay.
opportunities are available.
Okay.
If
Okay,
you firmed up the language and what you're going to put out there, you should have a motion.
so there'll be a motion to approve this as amended, as well as directing the chief to, or John to enter it on the Wiley Net tomorrow.
I did it last time, but that's perfectly fine.
John, you want Kim to do it this time, or you wanna do it?
That works, Kim.
Okay, alright, so we need a motion to approve, the posting as well as the direction to get it out there tomorrow.
I move that we approve the, posting of the application for, or the posting for police chief for the town of East Troy Police Department with the due date of May 31st. We will post it effective tomorrow.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Pete, second, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed? 5-0. Okay. Next. Authorize attorney to draft resolution for South Shore Drive road acceptance. Pete, you thought you had a tricky one. Alright, in my road research, I found the lawsuits. Actually, I found in our records here, found out that, Pat Hudick is the one that found it, because this is an unrecorded ruling. But back in December 26th of 1969, due to a lawsuit between the Bergenthals, that's the island at the end of South Shore, sued the town board of town of East Troy and said, yeah, this really is a town road. And it became one. It is a town road. But it's always been considered as a private road. Matter of fact, we were charging plowing on that till I found this and said, stop charging this year, which we did. But the last 0.213 miles is not on the state system for getting road aids. So I sent it to them with the maps, or actually, me and Todd both did. And they sent me a letter back and said, the right of way's too narrow, and where's the town resolution? And I looked through, took about hours of research. I've looked at town board meeting minutes from 1980, 1970 to 73 to present, and also between 1917 and 1930. And resolutions, I got all of them between 1973 and 2021. I can't find the book for the resolutions for 1970 and 1972. And if this lawsuit occurred in that time frame, maybe there is one. It's not in any easily found files. So it doesn't matter when we do it, but we have to have a resolution that the town board says, yes, we accept that road as a
Well,
town.
the state was asking, where's the town resolution, so my guess is, even if there was one, it was never forwarded.
Correct. And again, this is, 53 years ago.
That's 22, what mile?
2 and 3.
One,
2/10 of a
Oh,
mile.
okay, that,
213.
wow, that's almost the whole,
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not the
just the
whole
last
road.
little bit.
No, if you go up there and go past, where Bob Miller lives, Humphrey Lane, and you'll come to where Howard Bender used to have the big gate, big post.
There's a big red pagoda there.
Yeah. From that point to the island, never was in our official mileage maps. Now again, we're gonna get this resolution, and then in addition to that, since the right of way is 30 feet, they can't force the 66 feet, they can't enforce the 50, but they had a minimum of 33 feet, okay, and I believe this one is 30, so we still would I'd have to write the document that asks for the exception to standards. So that's where we're at, that's why you have to authorize you to do this. Judge said, it's a public road, set dedication pursuant to Uniform Declaratory Judgment Act, section blah, 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 1969. So, you gotta get this.
What's the name of that case?
Pardon me?
The name of the case?
I'll give you the whole file. Everything. And, matter of fact, one thing I'll take out of it is your letter about Troy Hills Estates in 16. But I'm not gonna give you the folder. You gotta have all my research in here. Okay, somebody make a motion, please.
I authorize Attorney Mills to draft a resolution for South Shore Drive Road acceptance.
Just the last 2.13.
Yes. And we-
0.213.
0.213, and what are we getting now?
0.213?
4,400 bucks a mile, I didn't remember. But it's every year. All right, we have a motion to, authorize Attorney Mills to draft that resolution, do we have a second? Pete, second, discussion on the motion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed,